do here. I'm just going to go through this again, just really quickly. What I do see is that you are going to be stable for the month of January. I feel like you can harness that energy to be able to work through this healing energy that you seem to be going through with the Three of Swords, and definitely it's going to be some communication that's going to be probably in around with a Gemini, or sorry, with a Libra energy or Aquarius seems to be prevalent, as well as an Aries energy. I definitely feel like there's some supreme healing going on here, because you got a lot of cards of heavy energy with the Ten of Swords and the Death. I don't feel like you were in the transformation card with the Death yet, but I do feel like with the Ten of Swords, hard learned lessons, definitely getting some clarity going forward, inner battles and around money, conflicts, that kind of thing. These are my money cards. There's definitely 3 5s in this reading, with the Five of Cups and the Five of Wands and the Five of Pentacles. You're in a really supreme period of change here, and there is some judgment waiting for some kind of new beginning. You really want to step into this. You're very anxious. You are in this release mode, but you're not quite in the release mode, if that makes any sense. I feel like you are still, like I said, disappointed with where you are in life right now. I don't feel like you feel like you are in a position of authority, even though you are in a stable position. Could be dealing with an older father figure or mature man, or you could be that mature person, male or female, but definitely some energy in around masculine, sort of stepping forward kind of energy. But again, hard lessons learned. You still have the Star card here, so there's definitely some sense of wanting. You've got some talents. You have something that you want to move forward with the Ace of Wands and the Ace of Swords. Could be reading this as book writing or something along that line, connecting it to very passionate interest, something that you really enjoy to do, that you're trying to bring forward here. Again, we've got the Star card. Well, I'm going to go into the let's see here. I'm just going to quickly mention maybe just about the around your money sense, because the 2 cards I pulled out regarding money, how it would be for January, is the Five of Pentacles and the Five of Wands. So that is a card, like I said, that does sort of revolve around the energy of wanting to do better. You know, there is a lot of rivalry and competitors in around a particular situation. Could be in a job situation. Some of you might be looking at new jobs here with that Ace of Wands, Ace of Swords. Could be something, 2 different options that are available to you. But it feels like there's a high level of disappointment overall in your life. Your discontent is around, you know, your finances, your emotions, heartbreak here as well. And I just feel apathy and boredom. Like there's a lot of areas of your life that you're sort of struggling with in January. But again, you are starting to release a little bit of this, maybe around the borders of the defensiveness, but I still see a lot of harsh conflicts. And enable for you to truly be free, you really have to find a way to you know, overcome these barriers. And these are the places where you can do mindfulness techniques, meditate through it, you know, realize that no finger pointing. This is really about knowing our place and our part in a situation and how those conflicts arose, but also being realistic and understanding that, you know, we all have a primary goal is to feel safe and secure, and to have people around us, you know, that are important to us. So, I mean, if there is some thread of those connections still there for you, maybe not in the way, turning out in the way that you would desire it, but again, there is still some very positive elements here that are trickling through, even though there's some really hard learned lessons and a lot of defensiveness, and again, a lot of need to change. I feel like you have a lot of triggers here coming up in January, but again, I still feel like it is a chance for you to, you know, be forewarned is forearmed. So if you know that you're having to, your mind, this again is not, these are predictive, they're not predictions, it's only energy that's around you. So you can always change this energy. And it all boils down to mindset. You know, so energy is always moving, it's always changeable. You can always move into the next little stage of energy that could be more positive for you and levels you up into a different way, depending on your growth mindset. If you're still stuck in this heavy energy here, it is going to be a lot harder to go forward, because your mind is closed off to new opportunity, new friends, new family, new, you know, energy, period. So again, I feel like you are still having to work through this. You've got some changes, you know, to kind of implement even in around your mental health, I would say, for the most part. And it definitely feels like you have to sort of struggle through some of these conflicts to be able to steer yourself in the right direction. But in terms of spirituality, I almost feel like You're feeling a sense of exclusion here in some way. Um, I feel like you are, I feel like something about your mindset is interfering with your pursuits at this time. So, again, take the time to heal, but know when to unlock yourself from this pattern of everything's bad, everything's somebody else's fault, everything's bad, nothing is going to be moving in my direction, nothing's, because the thing, all you're doing is recycling that energy so that you can relive it again. So anyway, what I would still say again with that Five of Wands, Five of Pentacles energy, it's still juggling the bills. Nothing to panic here though, because I feel like you are still in control of the foundation, or at least have some things in your corner that will create, a more, a better foundation for you to be able to work through this energy anyway. The card of the Judgment in around the Nine of Wands. Again, Nine of Wands is still, nines are all about things coming to a conclusion, and you're learning how to integrate some of that, that energy, in around starting something new, but it's knowing, how to do that. I don't feel like you're in a place to receive it yet. Even if something good was coming in here, I don't know that you see it quite that way yet. Because like I say, you're just working through some really heavy energies here. That Nine of Wands sort of speaks to me as, you're planning your next course of action. You're still, in that space of looking through, the journey ahead. And again, it's, you're still fighting yourself though. So it's a lot more, takes a lot more of your reserve to move ahead, by doing it this way. But I feel like you are still drawing on your courage, and you are taking the next course of action. You're thinking before you jump ahead here. And like I said, I think there's a few obstacles yet to overcome, mostly yourself. That Nine of Wands to me speaks to you being, feeling a little overtaxed emotionally, and certainly, with the Ten of Swords, feeling some disloyalty maybe as well. I do feel like you need some more information to be able to move something ahead, but there's energy around, book writing and TV or video, anything along that line. But there could be just one more thing that, helps to kind of move something ahead that you need to complete, or maybe even a little bit of a test that's coming here, because of that Judgment card. So there could be a lot of sort of small, minor irritations that, kind of bring you into feeling a little bit, cold, sore throat, whatever, fatigue, that kind of thing. But I do feel like you're disciplined enough and concentrating on your end goal here, and that you will be able to, overcome your obstacles. But again, you need to take the time out to heal yourself as well, change your mindset, because again, that Ten of Swords energy, there's just a lot of swords in this energy, and a lot of death, transformation cards, and wands. And it just feels like, you are really in a place of having to, like I said, energetically release yourself from, doesn't have to be releasing yourself from all situations, cutting people off and this kind of thing, but it definitely means that you need to release yourself from your own thinking, find a better way of working through your stressors, that kind of thing, because it's kind of catastrophic thinking, that kind of brings somebody into a Ten of Swords, and, because that's serious pressure and anxiety and that kind of thing. And it takes a toll on the body. And, if all the lessons have to be taking a toll on the body and our mental health, then it does create, that dark night of the soul and that kind of thing. And it really does, keep in the background, in the subconscious areas of ourselves, residual of, shame or disappointment or anger and sorrow. So even though you're taking the first step into another direction here, if you haven't been able to release it, and I do see some release here, if you haven't been able to fully release it, you will end up repeating some of these patterns until you can. So acknowledging those feelings and realizing, when you live a day in it, it's a moment. If you live, months in that same energy or in that same thought pattern, it becomes more of a mood. And then if it's years in a particular, sort of time or thought pattern, then it really is becoming a mental health issue. It's something that will stop you. And every time you're emotionally drained like this, it could take weeks or days, or dysfunctional, activities that, drinking or excessively burning yourself out or whatever it is for you, that to dislodge that anxiety and all of those devils inside of us that are still wreaking havoc on our imagination and those kinds of things. So again, Ten of Swords is also force changed, final chapter, final resolution, and getting on with your purpose in life is really what I see there with the Ace of Swords and with that Judgment card, as well as that transformation of the Death card. So I feel like you have had some, misfortune in some ways for sure, or you felt stabbed in the back. Like I said, it's the usual with that, that Ten of Swords energy. And perhaps you were kind of, unable to get past it, but I feel like you've had some difficulty overall sort of putting something behind you anyway. And that's usually ego driven if you can't put it behind you. So it just feels like you have a new beginning here to start. And there is a sense of rebirthing and going into a different cycle here, but at a deeper level, it still boils down to ego needs to release its attachment to things. And when I say ego, I mean, attaching all of these negatives to ourselves, and looking at it as a personal defect or a personal slight, that kind of thing is what the ego is all about. The ego is defined by, how we identify ourselves in the world. And if everything is chronically erupting, in a negative way, then a lot of that is self-talk. So, because when you do better, it's because you're thinking better. You put yourself around, better energy, and it's easier to transition into better energy, or higher vibration, I guess, if you want to call it. It's easier to be in that energy and to function than it is to be in a lower, dark seated, negative self-talk, negative reliving the past kind of energy, because that is just the hardest lessons learned. But when you can say to yourself, this is the path of humans, this is the energy that we all at some point cycle through. We all have a different level of tolerance, different level of pain, and different tools to our advantage, but it overall boils down to finding resources to be able to get through things. And that's what videos are all about on the internet. There's such a vast amount of information out there that we are open. We can be released from these darker places, but you have to be open and receptive to it. And right now, I don't know that I see that you're open and receptive to it just yet. I feel like you're still kind of locked into some areas where you need to kind of work through that final stage before you can allow anything else in. But anyway, moving on. Okay, so going back to the Four of Cups. So the Four of Cups is that energy of feeling disgusted or a little bit, turned off by life and what it has to offer on an emotional level. I feel like it's a place of suffering, self-pity, discontent, and just overall, feeling like you don't have control over a certain thing in your life, and maybe there's some, passing depression or whatever here as well that kind of goes with this energy. But I do feel like there is a renewal ahead. Like I said, you're still very guarded about it. You're kind of closed off to some extent, but you are going to see a little way of a little bit clearer. There's a little opening here for you to transform here and to take some action in terms of mentally is what I mean. I don't see a lot of action as far as headed in a particular direction, other than I do see Judgment card is you helping to release you through some of the drain anyway. Emotional drain, physical drain is coming to mind here as well. But still balanced in terms of, your starting point here and how you go forward. That energy of the Judgment and the Four of Cards, like I said, I feel like you're just not seeing, you might be a little uncertain about how you're going through or what your belief systems are at this time. But I feel like, I don't feel like I feel like you're renewing, or how do I say, reevaluating your life here at some point with the Judgment card. You're kind of taking stock of everything is where you are, and then trying to unravel everything to find your answers. And that's why all this pain seems to be coming up in January, because it's a new year, it's a new time, it's a new, so I mean, you're still looking at the setbacks here. We've got like the Four of Cups to the Five of Cups. You're still looking at the setbacks and the things that you feel have held you back. But again, you're kind of overlooking some of the other possibilities here. You've got an Ace of Swords, or sorry, an Ace of Swords as well as the Ace of Wands to, to help you to resolve some of these conflicts. So even though I feel like you're kind of tired and burned out and not really seeing the issues maybe in the right light, there is still some sense of awakening or awareness coming through with the Judgment card and the Star energy. So again, this is, starting to, even though you're, as I say, reliving some of these old grievances, I think that there is a chance for you to make some gains in this energy. It's very deep, heavy energy you're in January. It's really quite something that I think can be very profound for you if you allow it to be, because these are deep rooted changes at a really subconscious level. Again, difficult energy to struggle through, but there's definitely hope and talents here with that Star card. There's hope and talents, even though you're just not really seeing maybe the fruits of it just yet, but give it time, because there's talents here and there is sort of star quality further out, because the Star is about enlightenment and sort of building on that highest potential of ourselves as well. And it is about following our North Star, all of those things, renewal, healing, anything along that line. And it is about being on the right track as well. So whether you see it that way or not, it doesn't matter, because you are on the right track, and you just have to allow, as I say, finding the ways to release this energy will be to your advantage. You'll move through this darker, heavier energy quicker. And again, it's not about cutting everybody off, because for whatever reason, like we all are destined to go through more negative cycles, and it's just challenge after challenge. That's what life's about. But it's all about how we deal with the challenges, period. So that energy only comes from moving through it as though this is part of the human journey. I can't take it personally. I can't attach it to myself. I can't attach it to my personality or to my going forward. I have to harness the energy, seeing what value is in it to me. So it might sound a little opportunistic in one way, but it is about seeing yourself the way you should, seeing yourself as the confident you, and believing in your goals and all of those things. Because as I said, that's where the doors open and the opportunities arise. And you do have the talent. You do have that healing energy, that healing quality. And I do feel like you are somebody who has a fairly strong energy, to be able to deal with all of this, all of this heavy energy here. So I think that, things in your life will improve more significantly if you just allow yourself to release some of this perpetual thinking of, what's maybe not happened, or, why it's not happened, and quit analyzing that part of it, and just use the energy that you have built up, meaning whatever relationships came into your life, each thing moves us ahead in some way. Sometimes we get stuck on the one thing, and we just keep repeating the one thing. But in actual fact, there were many good things, and that is what we tend to nullify, and that's what I see here, is that you're stuck a little bit here in this energy. But as I say, it's learning to harness the good things that have come out of each situation, and knowing that with the Judgment card and the Death card, you are about to move into a really strong path of realization, where if there's valuable lessons, you're releasing that path, the old path, and kind of moving into something that is more fruitful and hopefully more practically, helping us out in financial ways as well. But like I said, most of the energy I see here is just you working through some mental energy. Lots of mental energy here. So the other part here, just to kind of get to the crux of it all, I guess, and finish up. In January, like I said, that Ace of Swords energy still is about getting clear, and I feel that's where you're at. You're trying to figure out, you know, it's kind of an epiphany moment, though, in some way here, too, to have that Star card and the Judgment card, as well as the Ace of Swords. To me, that really speaks to a very significant awakening, in some way that you're really just starting to see that your life has a true purpose, you know, and I feel like you have a resolution to a problem with the Ace of Swords. This is you using your intellect, and your ideas in the best way possible, and having the courage to act on things. And even though, like I say, I mean, there might have been some destructive energies here still happening in January, but I think once you cut through all of those deconstructive, sort of patterns, and then again, that's an unraveling of ourselves, you will find that there is an awakening of your mental powers, and you'll be able to create again here and unlock all of that storage. So you'll be able to think clearly, without distractions, and find resolves to how to work forward, how to go forward. Because again, there's a lot of emotional extremes here, a lot of energy of I'm taking the hardest path possible. I'm going to think the worst negative thoughts, and that I don't mean to laugh at it, because it's not. It's just that I just feel like you are, you will be breaking away from all those old beliefs and those patterns at some point. There's a little bit of energy that does show me that. But I feel like you've been really destructive to yourself mentally in some way here. And I just think that is, they're outmoded, sort of thought patterns. When you get to the Ace of Swords, you are now seeing that there's another way to deal with something, so you can release the emotions and the pressure and the anxiety and all of those things when you're in this energy, especially when we've got the Judgment card. I feel like you're about, you're really about getting rid of the illusions, and you're now in a place where you're searching for truths and understanding, that kind of energy. So I feel like that's kind of a timeout. January is a timeout energy for you. That's what I see, Gemini. Lots of healing, lots of figuring out, what is the path that gives you the most passion, that gives you the most clarity, truth, honesty, integrity, and allows you to feel like you're back on top. And again, just allow yourself to release all of this heavy energy, because again, this is just repetitive sort of looking back energy constantly. And I just think that you were in a better headspace by the end of January. So that's what I have for you, Gemini, and I wish you all the best for sure. Keep moving forward, never give up. Energy is always moving around, and focus on your optimism here, because this card shows me you have talents. This card shows me you have strong talents here as well, and I think you just really need to remember who you are, is what this is always about. Remember who you are, the best self possible. We are, given a set of distractions in life that will challenge who we believe we are. And if you allow those distractions to build up a false ego, or if you allow those distractions to tear down the ego, you're not really in the right headspace. The right headspace is to be mindful, let the energy come into you, feel the hurt in the moment, and then just, realize that it's only energy that is there for a time, and you can always transmute it. You can always change it. And that's what these cards are telling me here with the Death card, that you are in a place of transmuting that energy and, and releasing it. You're finding some kind of a solution here. So some kind of activity, probably a creative activity, is really the solution that is helping you to release that, that energy here. But again, release, release, release. That's what I see here, because you do have a lot of talents, and there's a lot of reason for you to be optimistic. So anyway, that's what I have for you for the month of January. Happy New Year. And again, remember who you are. This is not about ego. This is about doing the work and allowing your talents to shine. So that's what I have for you, Gemini. And I'll try to do another read here in the next short little bit. But meanwhile, keep moving forward and never give up.